And welcome to the David Tomsic Show, fighting tyranny one day at a time, Monday, May 12th, 2025. I'm glad you can join me today. I want to take the opportunity to wish all you mothers a belated Happy Mother's Day. I did not get a chance to say Happy Mother's Day to you on Friday for that weekend. I hope you had a great weekend, and thank you for joining me today. Okay, we're going to be talking about the trade war. Now, for those of you that don't know, this weekend in Geneva, the United States and Chinese met and hashed out a temporary 90-day trade deal. Now, many people have been commenting and sent me messages how it's great for America and, we're going to teach the Chinese and we got to get rid of the Chi-Coms and put them in their place. And there was all kind of things. And I disagree completely, of course, and I think the facts contradict any of those statements. The very fact is that Donald Trump wanted more than what they negotiated here this weekend. Remember, they're the folks that make everything. So going from 145% to 30%, it's not a bad deal, especially when you're going to make money either way, especially when you're going to have products to sell either way. The market is now open to you again. Maybe a little higher price, they'll absorb that. It's not a big deal. But for us, there was a bigger picture here. Trump wanted to reorganize the world order. He wanted to control how global trade was handled. He wanted to control tariffs. He wanted everything to be in favor of the United States because we're getting ripped off. He wanted to eliminate the trade deficit. He's made some deals like with England. It's a joke. It was very, very poor deal. It wasn't a big deal at all, as a matter of fact. And that's what you're going to find. Now, if you go back to 2018, Donald Trump started this trade war, which led to a negotiation between China and the United States then. China agreed to buy, I think it was $200 billion in American goods, back and forth. Nothing over the top. But this time, Trump came with guns blazing. He wanted to dominate, to bring America back to the number one country in the world, to make it great again, to have American hegemony at the top of the list, and to crush everybody else. I mean, that's really what he wanted. He said so. He wants to rule it all. He wanted to rule the world. So through trade, he was hoping to break that global order. He didn't. In fact, he made it stronger for all of them and weaker for us. But I digress. So before this tariff agreement was reached in Geneva this weekend, what was the tariff situation? Let's go back a little bit. Well, incoming Chinese products were being tariffed 145%. Now, for China, the United States was being tariffed 125% on all their goods going into China. Pretty high, right? Pretty much shut down the supply chain, shipping, trucking, you name it. There were issues all across the board. This was unprecedented. And again, never a good idea to do this. But Donald Trump felt the need because he wanted to crush the resistance. Well, he didn't. So Trump was very confident going into this trade discussion. The ball's in China's court. China needs to make a deal with us. We don't have to make a deal with them. His Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, said China is playing with a pair of twos. I laugh when these people talk games. So why is everything a game to them, a card game? Remember when Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, came in seeking help from the United States and the new Trump administration? Trump in advance told him he didn't have any of the cards. He had no cards. They held all the cards. They did. Now, Bessent says China only held a couple of twos. Why is the fate of the world being played like a card game? Because this is how they think. It's a game. See, they don't care about humans. Remember what I said about Elon Musk. Empathy doesn't exist in the Trump White House. It does not. Between Vance and Trump and all his little minions, empathy doesn't exist. It's kill or be killed, right? So it's a card game. We're going to win. It's a zero-sum game. There's only one winner, and it's going to be Donald Trump. The art of the deal, right? We're going to make a deal. The deal's really in our favor, 100%. We're not going to negotiate from that. We're going to keep the pressure on. Well, he didn't. He blinked. And he took a hit. From 145%, he went down to 30%. That's a win for China. Win-win. A win every time. To me, it's a win. They're going to continue to build their products, ramp back up, maybe a little more expensive. Not a big deal to them. From 145%. You see, the Trump administration was banking on this. You see, the U.S. runs massive trade deficits with China. We've talked about this on this program. So they believed, or the Trump administration believed, that because of that, the Chinese businessmen needed the American markets. They needed to sell their products here. It's the only place in the world to sell them is here. So the Chinese would have to come to the table. But the Chinese refused. In fact, the Brookings Institute backed up Trump in a way by estimating that a trade war with everybody having 60% tariffs on everything coming in, whether it's China or the U.S., would cost the Chinese in GDP $770 billion, a hit of $770 billion. Now, for the United States, they said would take a hit in our GDP of $327 million. But again, it didn't work out that way. The Chinese refused to negotiate. When President Xi said this, "We will not negotiate until you bring down your tariffs." Well, they sat down. Why? Because Trump said, "I'll bring the tariffs down." He needed to. See, President Xi, let's be honest, he's basically in charge for life. They don't have an election. Trump has 3.5 years, maybe. So he's got 3.5 years, and his party only has less than 2 years because the midterms are coming up. He was pressured by not only his party, he was pressured by the stock market, volatility. He was pressured by hedge funds, big businesses, and his own electorate. The Chinese, as everybody else, saw his approval ratings plummet. They had him. They had him then. They knew they had him. Everybody knew they had Donald Trump. He was done. And he caved. He caved because it was all crumbling down around him. When you come full circle, the two biggest economies in the world had a war, a trade war. Now, what is the final result of this trade war? Like I said, that the United States now will reduce tariffs on China, on incoming products from China, to 30%. And the United States will be more than happy to take the 10% that China's reducing their tariffs down to. For China, they don't export a lot to us anyway. And they're still going to have restrictions on certain products like rare earth minerals. So this doesn't apply to everything. I think electric cars will still have tariffs, Chinese electric cars. But for the most part, the tariff war has now been diffused massively, and they're going to work on a final agreement. We don't know what that agreement is. Now, Trump's claimed that he's won all these victories across the world with people coming to negotiate. It's not like they had to come to negotiate. That's how trade deals work. Now, Trump didn't make any big progress across the world. Pretty much what's in place has been in place. There's very little movement either way. For instance, the one in Britain was not a very good deal at all. This did not change anything. I guess the point I'm making here, my friends, is that whether we gained some percentage point in tariffs one way or the other, whether we've gained people buying a few more of our cars or a little more of our LNG, that's a negotiation. This trade deal is very similar to the 2018 trade deal. Not much different. I'm sure China will agree to buy X amount of U.S. products again. Tit for tat. But I have to stress to you, the bigger picture is worse for Donald Trump and the United States. Donald Trump has now made a fool of himself and America around the world. The agreements people are making with each other. For instance, the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Koreans made a deal to jointly cooperate more with trade. This is going to happen across the world. So we actually took steps backwards. We helped other people gain strength. We helped other countries get together as trade partners, leaving us in the dust. How does that work? Well, the truth is that Donald Trump now did not get his new world order. He did not change the global trade structure. He did not reduce the trade deficits the United States faces, because that's going to continue. He did not stop the arc of the global economy heading to China. China will still be the dominant superpower in the years to come. They now have the BRICS nations that are growing. Trump did not stop the de-dollarization there, and the results of this trade war did not help Donald Trump reindustrialize the United States as he promised. As I've said in many, many, many videos, that will not happen. Yes, some will build factories here, but his plan to re-industrialize America, it's dead. It will never happen. Failure after failure after failure. None of this worked out like he planned. His global dominance plan of making America great again only weakened us in the big picture. It weakened us with our allies, and it strengthened other people who now have new allies and new friends and new global trading partners. The U.S. dollar, although it went up today because of this news, is still under attack by the global south and attacked by the BRICS. People are going to move away from the dollar for just what happened. They're going to move away from the United States because of the threat Donald Trump and America poses to global stability. Because America wants to be great again. A small portion of our country, those people from the right, those people that are the true believers, want to make America great again at the expense of every other nation. We want to walk on top of other people. I have empathy. I don't want to destroy someone else so that I can be king. I want to be able to negotiate. I want to be able to be a part of a global community that wants the best for everyone. That's all the time I have. I'm glad you can join me today. God bless you. Don't forget to go over to our sister channel, Nights Around the Fire. I have a link in the description box. Meeting today, we're going to be planning a new video, a couple of them. Look out for those. Beyond all that, I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow right here on your favorite place for news, information, analysis, and don't forget commentary. The David Tomsic Show.